Bizarre royal scandals through the centuries. The history of royals is full of drama, intrigue, and scandal. But some of these stories are so bizarre that they seem like fiction. Royal scandals are nothing new. They've been happening for centuries, and they still do today. Just look at Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Their love story has been a media sensation from the start. But it got even more juicy in 2021 when they spilled some tea with Oprah and accused some royals of being racist. But Harry and Meghan are not the first royals to cause a stir. These severe matters affected the fate of nations and even the world. In this video, we'll explore some of the most bizarre royal scandals through the centuries. You won't believe what some of these royals did. Let's find out. You may have heard of the infamous affairs, divorces, and abdications of the British monarchy, but they are nothing compared to the shocking secrets of their ancestors. The history is full of queens who did some crazy things, from cheating on their husbands to killing them off to take over the throne themselves. The Queen of Denmark and the royal physician. Caroline Matilda, the young British princess, had an unfortunate fate. She was married off to King Christian VII of Denmark without ever meeting him, only to discover that he had a violent temper and suffered from bouts of madness. Despite Caroline Matilda's warmth, charm, and natural beauty, her marriage quickly deteriorated alongside the deteriorating mental state of the king. To help manage the king's fits of insanity, a German doctor named Johann Struensee was brought in. Driven by the belief that improving the king's relationship with his wife could stabilize his behavior, Struensee encouraged Christian to treat Caroline Matilda with kindness. Isolated and unhappy in Denmark, Caroline Matilda found solace in the doctor's assistance and, like her husband, was drawn to Struensee's calm and authoritative presence. Their relationship eventually turned romantic, and together they worked to introduce liberal reform in the king's name. Struensee's influence grew to the extent that he issued over 1,000 cabinet orders. However, their reformist agenda faced fierce opposition from a conservative group. They conspired to overthrow the lovers in the name of the king. Tragically, Struensee was executed, and Caroline Matilda was divorced from her husband and separated from her beloved children. It is believed that one of her children was fathered by Struensee himself. Unfortunately, Caroline Matilda's brother, King George III of England, intervened and ensured that she was sent into exile in Germany instead of being imprisoned in Denmark. Caroline Matilda was a captive queen who loved theater, books, and charity. She died of scarlet fever at 23. Her story is sad and full of love, power, and pain. It shows how hard and cruel royal life can be. Marie Antoinette and the dress that shocked a nation. Marie Antoinette, the French queen, was famous for the diamond necklace scam that tarnished her image. But she had another scandal that was even worse. It was about a painting and a dress. The painting was by Elizabeth Vigée Lebrun, a friend of the queen. The dress was a gauze, a light cotton gown. It was comfy for the queen's country activities, but it looked like underwear. Underwear made of cotton, a foreign and slave-linked fabric. People were appalled by the queen's bad taste and disloyalty. They hated her more and blamed her for everything. The painting was taken down, but it was too late. The queen lost her honor and her life. She was guillotined in a white cotton dress. The gauze, however, became a symbol of the revolutionaries. They wore it to show their simplicity and honesty. They opposed the nobility and fought for liberty and equality. They wore the gauze to show their new nation. This is the story of Marie Antoinette and her dress, a story of how clothes can matter more than you think. A story of how rulers can fall because of scandals, betrayal, and revolution. The Tordenal Affair. Have you ever wondered what it was like to be a king or a queen in medieval times? Well, let me tell you, it's not all fun and games. Sure, you have a lot of money, power, and fame, but you also had a lot of enemies, problems, and drama. And sometimes your own family could be your worst nightmare. That's what happened to King Philip IV of France and his dynasty in 1314. He was a successful and ambitious king who had expanded his empire and crushed his rivals. He had a beautiful daughter, Isabel, who was the Queen of England, and 3 sons who were married to noble ladies. He seemed to have it all. but he was about to face a huge scandal that would ruin everything. It all started with a simple gift. Isabel wanted to be nice to her sister-in-law, so she gave them each a gorgeous purse with gold and jewels. She thought they would love them, but she was wrong. They didn't care about the purses at all. They gave them away to their secret lovers, 2 knights who were brothers and worked for the king. Isabel was shocked when she saw the knights wearing the purses on their belts. She smelled something fishy and decided to investigate. She found out that her sister-in-laws were cheating on their brothers with the knights. They met them at the tower called Tordenal, where they had wild and passionate affairs. Isabel was furious and disgusted. She told her father everything. The king was enraged and ordered his spies to catch the cheaters in the act. They did, and the king had them arrested and put on trial. The trial was a horror show. The knights confessed to torture and were brutally executed. They were castrated, flayed, boiled in oil, and drawn and quartered. Their heads were displayed on spikes on the tower where they had sinned. The princesses were also found guilty of adultery and treason. They were stripped of their titles and imprisoned for life. Their heads were shaved as a sign of shame. Their children were declared illegitimate and disinherited. The scandal killed the king and his sons. His youngest son became king, but his cousin from England wanted his throne. They fought for 100 years, killing millions and changing Europe. Some say it was a curse from a Templar leader the king burned for lying about God and magic. This is the story of King Philip IV and his dynasty. A story of how secrets can ruin everything. A story of how rulers can fall because of scandal, betrayal, and maybe magic. The Duke of Cumberland's Midnight Intruder. The Duke of Cumberland was Queen Victoria's uncle and a bad man. He drank, gambled, seduced, and married in secret. He had a scar and a temper, and people thought he was evil. He was hated by everyone, especially after he said he raped and impregnated his sister, Princess Sophia. One night in 1810, he had someone attack him and hit him on the head. He said his valet, Joseph Sellis, didn't help him, so he sent his servants to find him. They found Sellis dead in bed with his throat cut by a razor. Cumberland said Sellis killed himself, but no one believed him. They thought Cumberland killed Sellis. Why did he do it? There were many theories, but none of them were good. Maybe Sellis knew too much, or maybe he was sleeping with Cumberland's wife or mistress, or maybe Cumberland tried to rape him. It was a terrible story that followed Cumberland forever. People were afraid of him too. When Queen Victoria became queen, he was next in line until she had a child. People were glad when she did, and when he left for Germany. But there was another death by razor in his house in 1830. Maybe it was a curse by Jacques de Molay, the Templar leader he burned at the stake. This is the story of the Duke of Cumberland, a scandalous royal. The story of how secrets can ruin a family. A story of how rulers can fall because of scandal, betrayal, and maybe magic. We hope you enjoyed this journey through history and learned something new about the lives and loves of the royals. These scandals may seem shocking and outrageous, but they also reveal the human side of the people who shaped our world. They remind us that behind the crowns and the jewels, there are secrets and lies. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of our latest uploads. And let us know in the comments below which royal scandal surprised you the most. Until next time, stay curious and stay tuned.